Justin.
What's up, man?
Not a whole lot. Just looking for a guarantee from Andy.
Yeah?
Yeah. Dude Andy is joining us for this episode about King's Night on the Two Dudes in an S podcast.
Yeehaw! That's right, fellas. I got it right here. That nice shiny card right there. Oh, you gotta look at it. It's King's Night right there. Right there. It's on the label. Check that out. Dude Andy with the guarantee. Buy this game right now. Only $29.99.
Oh, it's a bit steep.
Thanks.
Yeah. I'll lower that price later after we talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So we were talking about it before the show, but I was a little late tonight because I was watching the Brit Awards, which is British people. And I know we have a few out there that listen to the podcast. So I just want to say that you guys put on a pretty good show. I like it better than most American award shows. Because, one, it's not like in a big auditorium. It's like people sitting around tables. Like you would, like if you remember back in high school or something, where you would go to like an awards banquet and you go sit around
Or a
tables.
roast.
Or like a roast.
Instead of Friar's roast, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty neat. And plus, there's a lot of people talking, and I don't really understand what they say sometimes. But it sounds fancy.
I'd like to have a roast of someone, and then also serve roast.
Not a bad idea.
One of my favorite foods, a roast.
Now, see, I used to think that that's what a roast actually was, because I had no idea. When I was younger. I was
Showed up and ate roast.
Yeah.
Speaking of roasting meats,
Uh-huh.
I saw something last evening that we've talked about on the podcast before.
The truth.
So we got invited over to some friend's house, mutual friend. Well, Crabman.
It's a
Crabman's house, right? So we were invited over there. And I knew y'all lived close to each other.
Did you realize we were like within 300 feet of each other?
No, I didn't until I was looking for his house with GPS, and then saw you all sitting on the porch. And then we went around the corner to where their house is, and there is a police officer with a pig. A rather large pig.
Yep.
I guess I always envisioned this pig that you said escaped from time to time was like a small pig, like a pet, cute little pig.
Yeah.
No, this is like a hog.
Oh, yeah, it's a hog. It's full-on hog. So we should probably refresh everybody's memory. I don't remember, like 50 episodes ago, I brought up the fact that in my neighborhood, and it only happens in the South, I guess, but in my suburb neighborhood, we occasionally have a pig that gets loose and roams the neighborhood.
And it's important to note, it's not like farmland. This is like a suburb. This is like a suburb neighborhood like area.
Well, you said in the South, so I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, I mean it's not. There's not like he's not surrounded by farms.
There is some farm-ish land out there, but it's mostly suburb. Yeah. But so I'm assuming that when we talked about this on the podcast, however long ago it was, that most people probably assumed that we were just making a joke or just poking fun, oh yeah, we live in the South, pigs get out all the time, hardy, har. No, Justin can now attest, it is truth. We do have a hog that gets loose in our neighborhood.
And I'm not sure how long it took him to corral it, because like the cop had it, he was standing next to it when we first got there, and then next thing I know, I saw it running in between houses. So I don't know. It got loose again. So
they did not catch it while we were watching. I know that.
So I live in the city now, just to kind of... I live in the city in Bloomington. Mall of America is literally a stone's throw. But I used to live in a small farm country of Becker. And they had an emu on the loose for
Oh, man.
And there was emu sightings, and the emu had his own Facebook page. And people, he had I can't even remember his name. I think it was Dizzy or something. But the cops finally caught him, and emus are very sensitive. The emu had a heart attack and actually didn't make it because the cops thought if they would have left it alone, he probably would still be out there running. But no, sad story for the emu, but emu on the loose is still a pretty good headline for Becker Township, newspaper there.
I feel like if I was a rich person, like if I had millions of dollars, and I would just like buy an emu and just like put it in a city. And just watch chaos ensue.
Let it loose.
They're kind of mean, though. You
Right.
kind of you might be, charged with some kind of crime.
You might be. Maybe if the emu actually attacks someone. But
When emus attacks, next up.
you could make it look like an accident. Like you could have your trailer, and like you say you're trying to feed it or something, and it ran out or something. I don't know.
We used to know a guy who raised emus, or emus, or however you pronounce it. And back when we knew him, we'd get a lot of meat to eat and like oil to, I guess, rub on your joints and stuff. But he quit. I don't know if it was just not sustainable or what, but there went all that meat.
Yeah,
that was some good meat.
Where do you
Was
get
it-
oil off an emu?
I have no
I
idea.
guess it's like the fat. I don't know.
Yeah, you make it out of the fat, maybe. Yeah.
So it's not like emu milk. All right, gotcha.
No.
Where's this oil?
Is it the one that was like out here in like the Philadelphia area?
Yeah, it
That
was
like
in
a
Philadelphia.
big giant farm. Yeah, I remember going out and like looking at the emus because there's tons of them.
Oh yeah, he had a bunch.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about King's Night though. We can come back to farm talk if we want to, but for now.
Livestock.
Yeah. Wait, did we talk
Chris
about
Vanderhoff.
livestock
4-H
last
days.
episode too?
I think we did. We talked about cow judging and horse judging.
Yeah. We should probably stop talking about farm animals for a while.
Yeah. We've reached our
Two
quota.
dudes in a nest, sponsored by 4-H. There you
Yeah.
go.
2018 is the year of the farm animal for the two dudes. All right. King's Night.
You get some history?
I have a little bit of history, but I have it in the form of a quiz game.
Quiz game. All right.
All right. So the quiz game, I think, Andy, I'm sure you know how this works. We do
Absolutely.
questions. Each question has 4 possible answers, and you can buzz in at any time. When you buzz in, I stop reading, and you can try to answer it if you haven't listened to any choices, or you can wait and hear all the choices. And we kind of instituted a new rule last time, just kind of on the fly, is that let's say Mike rings in, he gets it wrong, and Andy rings in and gets it wrong. Then we'll reopen it for the last 2 answers, so we can try to keep people from scoring, not just losing the points.
Okay.
Sounds
All
good.
right. So King's Night was released by a subsidiary of Square that was a North American division. Under what name? Was it A, Works, B, Squaresoft, C, Andy?
Squaresoft.
All right, Andy gets on the board.
He's cheating.
I cheated.
got the card.
I got the game in my hand.
Oh man, I didn't think about that. So yeah, it was first released under their Redmond subsidiary Squaresoft, as in Redmond, Washington. So that's 1 point for Andy. All right, question 2. These questions aren't super difficult. Anyway, question 2. This was an early work for composer Nobuo Uematsu. What other franchise was he responsible for the music? Was it A, Donkey Kong, B, Final Fantasy, C, Castlevania, or D, he never made any music again, but he has an awesome mustache?
Mike. I really want it to be D. Please say it's D.
It's not D.
Oh, man.
Andy. I'm going to go
Andy.
Final Fantasy just because Square also made Final Fantasy.
That would be correct.
I feel like
So
that was
this would
probably
be
a give me.
yeah. This is the early work of Uematsu, who would go on to do the music for every single Final Fantasy. So
Really?
but we can talk about that with the music with this game, because Final Fantasy has some pretty famous music, and I don't know if King's Knight's going to have that famous of music, but we'll talk about it. We'll get to that. All right, so Mike, you're in a hole here.
Pretty bad, yeah.
All right. A remake of King's Knight was released in 2016 by Square Enix. It was talked about being released for next generation consoles, but what did it eventually get released for? Was it A, the Wii U, B, Xbox One, C, PlayStation, or D, iOS and Android?
Mike.
iOS
and Android.
It was iOS and Android. So they talked about, there was all these like teaser trailers, and they were going to release it for a next gen system, and it got released for iOS and Android finally in 2016 after multiple delays. So, all right.
I'm slowly catching up, but I'm still losing. I feel kind of like the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, hey now, we just won.
I'm just kidding.
This question I had to kind of reword a little bit because, well, Mike ruined it before the show in a conversation. All right. In North America, this game was released in 1989. What year was it released in Japan? Was it 1989, B, 1988, C, 1987,
Mike.
or D, 1986? All right, Mike.
87.
It was not 87.
All right, I'll go
Andy?
88 then.
It was not 88, so we reopen it.
Mike.
So the two final choices are 1989 and 1986.
Mike. 89.
No.
86.
Andy, 86. This game released in Japan a whole 3 years before it was actually released in North America.
I knew better. I knew better than to answer that like that.
So Andy is technically won.
3 years.
Go ahead with question 5.
Like they must not have really worked on it much.
Mike, what was that? What did you say?
They must not have worked on it much. You know, they had 3 years to do something. They didn't do anything.
Yeah, they didn't do anything really, because there was really no difference between the Famicom version and the NES version. Now there was some differences, like it was released for MSX, and there were some control differences basically, but between the Famicom and NES versions, they were basically the same game.
So then why wait? You know?
Yeah,
Maybe it took them that long to find somebody who could actually translate the title.
Well, it was released, so I didn't say this in the first question, but under what name did Square release this? The first choice in that was Works, which Works was actually the publisher in the Famicom version. So they did have different publishers, but no difference. All right, question 5. Who starred in the movie A Knight's Tale? Was it A, Orlando
Mike.
Bloom, B, Johnny Depp?
Oh,
Mike?
This is going to be so embarrassing. Heath Ledger.
It is Heath Ledger.
I wish I
All
did.
right, Mike, you got to finish on a strong note because I essentially ran out of there's not a whole lot of history on this game, so it's like I ran out of really things to ask, so I just pulled out A Knight's Tale.
That's okay.
Is that your favorite movie?
great movie.
Yeah, I think it might be.
I think it might be in Nick Stevens' favorite movies of all time.
Oh yeah.
I think he told me that one time.
Oh yeah. Did he call you and tell you?
I think he said this is in one of my top 10 games of all time. I think. So,
yeah, he even called it a
top
game.
10 movies. Yeah,
that's the weird thing. You're like, what do you think about Knight's Tale, Nick? He says, I think it's one of my top 10 games of all time. You're like, Nick, it's a movie.
Right.
He's like, I know.
He says I pretend I'm playing it. So.
Got the controller, watching Heath go down.
Right. All right, Mike. You got a story about how you came across this game?
I have a story-ish. It's definitely not a demo mode this time, and it's not I've never had it. It's not I don't even remember how I got it. It's I remember. It's just not a very detailed or exciting story. I bought it off from a guy in Knoxville.
Sweet. Was this game on Craigslist? Or was it a lot?
It was just a lot.
Oh, okay.
It was a guy. He said, I've got a bunch, and I can sell them. I can sell them in pieces or whatever. Just come see what I got. So I did, and I bought this one and a couple other ones.
Sweet.
But
Andy, you got a good story?
Yeah.
This was a birthday present from my grandma, who knew I liked playing King's Quest and thought it was the same thing.
Now that's a
Aw.
good story. See,
That's
So
a
for
good
my
I wish I
story.
had
birthday,
story
I got
like that.
King's Knight, probably in 90, 91, 90.
Yeah.
It was the same year I got Blast Master. So I got a good game, and then I got King's Knight. So
yeah, King's Knight. You know, we'll talk about it.
Well, I guess we can go ahead and start talking about it.
I think we could.
Uh,
Do you want to start with the manual?
Yeah, let's do it.
That's usually a good way to start, I'd say.
Yeah.
I've got electronic version. I did not get the manual when I purchased the game. So, is that okay? Can I go electronic like I always do?
Mhm.
I don't have a
What
lot
if-
of manuals.
Yeah. He's got a lot of manuals.
Yeah,
but no
I've got
manuals.
got a ton of manual. Manuals, not so much.
Yeah.
All right, the
All right.
the manual is, according to this PDF I have, pretty colorful and pretty nice. Actually, it's
Yeah,
mostly-
the art,
The art is
Yeah.
good. It's really good.
the box art's like, I mean, similar, you know? It's like really anime-ish kind of.
Yeah,
Looks
I
like
mean,
they spent a lot of time on the box art.
I had to go back to the quest for a minute. I had no idea what this game was. Like I said, the guy just said, "Here, I have a box full of games. I can sell them all to you. I can sell them some to you, whatever." And I went and I was looking through them, and the box art for this game, or the cartridge art, looked awesome. So I was like, "Yeah, okay, this one I want." Now, the box art and the game itself don't totally match up, but that's to be expected. I figured I'd know that going in, but I thought it'd be something. I thought it'd be a different game. But the box art is awesome, and the manual art is pretty good too. Does anybody want to know what the story is? The game
I don't know,
itself
but
does
I-
not tell you very much.
I'm going to be honest that before we get to the story, the table of contents, things go south pretty quick. Like, I mean, the cover's got some pretty art, and then we get to the table of contents, and then it's like, yeesh.
Okay, so the table of contents looks like what I would do with markers when I was a 4-year-old. I would just take a book and just write over top of it. Just color it in.
Yeah. Can you see that? Can you guys see that on the screen share?
It looks terrible.
it does. I'm pulling it up myself.
Yeah.
Actually, on the screen
Oh,
share that
yeah.
I'm looking at, your screen share looks terrible too.
Oh, well, thank. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm
Now
just trying to.
Oh, there it is. There we go. Yeah. So
Code in there, like the Atari, what was it? Sword Quest, with the letters. I mean,
I don't know. That's a good.
Yeah,
point.
it is a code. It is a code. It's A. It's A. Like Canadian A. A. U. E. Whoa.
You can stop now. You can stop.
Okay.
Now. Good try.
Wait, there's foam. FOAM. Foam.
Uh-huh.
There's something about foam in this game.
Yeah. That must be what you're shooting out of your sword. Foam.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right.
All right.
So yeah, the table of contents is bad.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Okay, let's get into the story here, because this is the
Okay.
story. This is going to be the meat and potatoes of this game right here.
Mhm.
Let me. Here we go. This is going to be rough, though. By the way, I just want to go ahead and tell you because some of the terms in this story are a little bit rough for me. In the kingdom of Izander, the fair Princess Claire has been kidnapped by a foul and insidious dragon, and it is the mission of 4 brave fighters to save her. These fearless champions will come together after proving themselves on their own to fight their way to the lair of the dragon and restore the kingdom to its peaceful state. The knight, Rayjack, will go first. He is the most
Rayjack. Rayjack sounds like the name of the trailer guy what's the Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yeah.
What is his name in
what
that?
is-
down to the river. Oh, down to the river.
Yeah, that guy. I think it's Rodney.
Hey
isn't it?
Rodney, it's
Yeah.
Rodney. Yeah, hey Rodney. What?
What?
The
The
devil? Who? Oh man, Christopher Maloney,
He's
such a
he's
great
good.
actor.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
Mainly just that one part.
yeah.
Yeah, the knight Rayjack must be from the trailer park.
Yeah.
All right. He is the most experienced of the group, and he carries a strong weapon. The wizard, Kaliva, is next. He has magic and good jumping ability.
Now, I gotta say this. The rapper Wiz Khalifa,
Uh-huh.
he actually got his name from this game.
Right,
It's
right.
short for, Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
He stole it
Oh,
from
that
him.
makes a lot of sense. How long,
Right.
did,
I believe you. Yep.
how long did you think of that one before we got on the show?
Like, I mean, I got some sleep last night, but I was up most of the night.
Now, I wonder, he has good jumping abilities, and his name's Khalifa. Is he a basketball player?
I don't know.
The
Maybe.
monster, Barusa, follows. This scaly creature has strong defenses and can take many hits. I didn't experience that myself, I don't feel like. The thief,
Lies.
Toby, is the youngest and quickest member of the team.
I feel like Toby in this game is like Toby from The Office. Like, just worthless.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, it's Toby.
Yeah.
He's the
Alright.
youngest and quickest member of the team. They must first set out solo and build their individual fighting abilities. Once they each have advanced skills, these courageous warriors will come together to seek out and save the princess. You must help them reach their goal, as you are now part of the team that will fight to free the princess from her imprisonment. Keep your wits about you, plan your strategy, and set off on an exciting adventure. Pretty good story.
Yeah.
Now, the come together thing, they've said it like 2 or 3 times in here, and I'm just going to out myself real quick. There's one thing that I do more than anything else that gets on my wife, and it cracks me up every time. But we'll fold the sheets for the bed, and there's a part in our folding process when we fold them together and like walk towards each other so they don't touch the ground or something, And every time I will sing the Beatles "Come Together," and she just gets so frustrated. I don't know why, but it's just hilarious to me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I do it every time.
You sing it in the Beatles version, or Steve and Tyler, or a Michael Jackson version?
Just whatever I'm feeling at the time. So a little bit of everything sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Michael Jackson version is the one that gets on it. So that's probably the one I go to. That's probably my go-to most of the time.
That's your go-to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
All right. So you guys like the story? Andy, you big into the story of this game?
Full of lies. It's all full of lies.
It does seem a bit like it's full of lies once you start playing it.
This is one of those where that's the first time I've actually looked at the manual.
Mhm.
It explains so much that I wish I would have known when I was a kid.
Oh,
So many
man, I know.
frustrations, Like, I didn't know why. Why do I have a knight and then a monster, and the monster should be the bad guy? But no, they're supposed to be a team. Nah, it makes sense. Wasted hours.
Yeah, and later on we'll get into it here in a minute. But the manual, like when I first got the game and I brought it home and I put it in the system and I played it, I didn't look at the manual or anything. I didn't look at the manual until I went to play it this time for the show, and there's so much more that I did not know, and it has to do with like resetting the game and all this stuff. So we'll get into that here in a minute. But just know that if you're going to play this game, you should probably
Read the manual.
Right.
or listen to the show because we're about to tell you. So if you move forward in the manual, it gives you the controls. So the controls of this game, I guess we should describe the game too. The game is a shmup, basically. So it's top down. The game scrolls and you shoot bad guys that come down the screen at you. Basically it's very similar to just your typical shmup, but with a few twists that we'll get into here in a minute. But the controls of this game are almost Atari controls until the last level because you have one button to shoot and you move, and that's all you got.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah, you need to just focus on this how to use the controller. Just focus on this first one, A button. Just look at that.
yeah, you want me to read it?
Yeah,
Fire your
I
weapon.
do. There you go.
That's all you need to know. Of course, you can
Yeah.
pause the game too.
Yeah.
The B button actually does something in this game.
Yeah.
Never got to experience that.
Yeah.
The B button only works on one level. Okay, that's okay. What other game does an entire button on a controller only work in one level?
Yeah, one level and basically one time, from what I experienced.
Yeah. One
Yeah.
yep.
You get to use this button one time every time you play this game. You get to use it once.
It's like, man, I can't wait to hit this B button.
And if you're like me, you just prematurely hit it every now and then because you're just maybe this time it'll work. Maybe this time it'll work. And
Does
then
this do anything?
and then finally it does work, and then it never works again.
Right. Right.
So the way the game works, I'm kind of done with the game. We can touch on it a little bit more if we want to, but there's not a lot left other than just describing the screens, telling you a little bit more about the game that we can just get. But basically, the way the game works is there are 5 levels, one for each of the characters, and then a final level where you play as all the characters. But you start as the knight, and you play the knight's level. But unlike a typical game where you die and restart as the knight until you beat that level, in this game, if you die, you just go on to the next character and the next level, which I thought was pretty interesting. I thought that's kind of... So, like, if you play as the knight, you die, all of a sudden you're the wizard, and then you die as the wizard, you go to the monster, and if you die as the monster, you go as the thief, and then if you die as the thief, it's game over.
But you don't... But from what I understood, and I didn't get to level 5, but from the things that I read, you have to have, like, the magic spells from each character to really succeed at beating level 5, right?
Correct.
It's pretty much impossible to play it if you're missing a character or multiple characters. So even though it lets you continue,
You might as
really
well
can't
shut
beat
it off.
you can't beat the game. So
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, in order to actually beat the game, you have to make it through with all the characters. And not only do you have to make it through with all the characters, but you have to find their hidden item somewhere in the level that will give them the magic ability at the end on the last level.
right.
So I guess
If you don't have the player and you don't have the magic spell, then you are going into level 5 completely not capable of finishing it. So it's just like a big...
It's a joke. It's a cruel joke.
You're gonna die, and then you're gonna start this game over anyway. So congratulations on nothing.
we definitely should have covered this game for April Day, because I feel like that's what this game is. It's a one giant April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
No, not really. I'm just that's mean to say. So we didn't touch on this. I jumped right over top of it, but normally we talk about playing it as a kid. I never played it as a kid, but it sounds like you did, Andy. So tell us a little bit what it's like to get this game in your younger days and play it.
So the reason why I chose this game for the Patreon pick is because I got it for a birthday present. I played the heck out of this game. This would have been a game that I would have, if this was an arcade unit, I would have spent my allowance, my birthday money, my Christmas money playing this game. That's how much I loved this game growing up. But I loved it because I could never get past level 1. I could never get past level 2. So, I mean, even though I loved it, I hated it because I could never get anywhere. But that being said, I do remember there was one time where I finally, I don't even remember what character it was. I think it might have been the monster. But he ended up living, and I made it to level 5 and died right away. And it was awesome. But other than that, this game was just a big ball of frustration. But even today, it's one of those games that I will still throw in, play through all 4 characters, die all 4 times, and then take the game out and move on to Blades of Steel. You know, it's still in my top 25 of games that I love to hate.
I really felt like I should hate this game in playing it because it is very frustrating and it's very difficult, or at least it was for me. But I really did not hate it. I actually kind of liked it.
Like I said, love to hate. I love this game, but at the same time,
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I hated it as in the aspect of it was miserable to play. Because it is fun to play. It's a shoot 'em up. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's just, it's full of action. But I guess if I was sitting there and maybe you played it, but if you're playing it to beat the game, it would be just incredibly frustrating and it would just make you not want to play it. If you knew what the object of the game was, I guess.
Yeah.
you can
I think
definitely
I guess what I'm trying to say is if I was just a kid and popped this into the NES, I may not hate it because it'd just be kind of a fun shoot 'em up game.
Yeah.
But once you kind of figure out what you need to do to beat the game, then I would hate it.
No, see, that actually makes me like it more, to be honest. I think, because basically the way the I'm stuttering a lot, sorry. I can't think of the word I want to say. The crux of this game, or like the gimmick of this game, is that if you can make it through, if you get to where you're good enough to make it through the level, right? and you can make it to the last level. Even if you can't find the hidden power-up to get you the magical abilities, and you won't know this unless you read the manual, but even if you can't find it, as long as you can get through the level and get to level 5 with your characters, you can hit reset on the game system, not power off, but reset. There's no save battery in this game, but the reset will not totally wipe the game out. I really don't understand how reset works on a Nintendo, but I know that when you reset, sometimes things can happen, weird things can happen in games, and this is one of those games where if you reset it and you go to start again, you can pick which character you want to be, and you can go through their level again. And all the same stuff that they had, all the leveling up you did, grabbing the weird blocks on the path, all that stuff's still there. So you can actually kind of level up your characters by doing that. So you can play through the levels again, level up your characters, hit reset, and then just have everybody leveled up whenever you go to the 5th and final level. And yeah, that blew my mind when I figured that out. So that in and of itself is kind of making my love for this game, it kind of changes my feelings for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's what they took the 3 years doing that. That was the 3 years in the making. They were trying to figure out how to do that from the Japanese version to the North American.
That's it.
Yeah, it could be.
We gotta find something. Oh, that reset button. Let's do something with that.
I mean, is it just crazy? That's just crazy to me. I don't know. They do describe it in the manual.
I should have read the manual, man.
Yeah, I know. So basically, it says continue mode is what they call it. They call it continue mode. And so you press reset, and then you press the select button, and you can choose a character, and then you continue on.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a fancy part of the manual. I mean, it's a whole page, but it's like there's no pictures to it. It just says continue mode in plain lettering, and just kind of gives you a little description of how to do it.
Now, in my defense, I'm talking about how awesome this aspect of it is, but I didn't really get to experience it myself. I can just imagine how awesome it is, but I was not able to make it through all 4 stages and keep all the characters, so I don't 100% know if it works.
It's supposed to work. Yeah.
It's supposed to do this awesome thing. Unfortunately, it's too difficult for me to make it through all the levels and try it.
Yeah, so that's the next thing that we need to talk about. This game is friggin' hard. I mean, just hard.
Yeah, you get 4 lives, basically. 1 for each character, but again, the idea is to make it to the last level with all characters, so basically you have 1 life.
Yeah.
That's it.
And there's no patterns. You watch these enemies coming down the screen, and there's no pattern from the first time you play it to the second time to the third time. Everything is different. So you got people coming at you, you got bombs shooting at you with absolutely no pattern. I mean, ridiculously difficult.
Oh yeah, it feels really random, and like the power-up locations feel random. There is an abundance of the down arrow, which is actually just takes life away from you.
Yeah, the most ridiculous thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a life up one, which is nice. There's a jump that makes your jump better, which I couldn't really figure out what the benefit of jump is anyways, because I know you can jump on top of the mountains and then jump into the water and out of the water, but why do you even need to jump? I couldn't really figure out why you need to make that a better skill, you know what I mean?
Right.
But then there's speed, and there's weapon and defense, which defense, it seemed to me like I died just as fast no matter. The weapon gets better. I could tell that the weapon would get better, and the speed, you can tell the speed. But then there's life up and life down. There's an arrow that will just take your life away.
And a lot of them.
It's not even a bad guy. It's just an arrow, just down arrow.
Yeah, and it's always in the way.
And then you have the hidden cave symbol, which takes you to the dungeon. Which the dungeon is where your like little hidden little pieces are that you need to find to do your magic spell.
Okay,
right?
so here's my question about that. Is there consistency with finding that magic element? Because I could not figure out a consistent way of getting to that. Or is it random just like everything else in this game?
I think it's random, but I'll say this. So there's like, I'm looking at the symbols. There's a spring supposed to add to your jump, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the hidden cave. And I'm looking at them, and if I'm looking at the two, I'm asking myself, which one looks more like steps? It's the jump one, right? Doesn't it look like
except
steps?
for the hidden cave looks like the steps that they use in.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
I think they're kind of cop. But I will say that
that's where I put it together. Yeah.
I will say that the Hidden Cave one also kind of looks like a stock exchange crash. It's like a downward bar graph.
Right.
So,
Right.
So if you want to lose all your money, go to the game.
And then if you look at the manual, the little Pokeball looking thing, it gives you a question mark. As this, could this be good?
Yeah, I never found
Could
one of
this
those
be
in
bad?
the game, though. Did you?
I never found one personally, but I found what they do.
The only one I found was on Rajack's stage, and I always knew to stay away from it.
Right. It's not a good question mark.
Pretty much
Puts up a bunch of barriers. Yeah, it just puts up a bunch of barriers and you just can't go anywhere.
Oh, I did step on one of those. I just didn't realize it. Like the bunch of the little blue things that come out of the ground and get in your way. Yeah, okay.
But what kind of maniac did this in the manual? Like, hey, maybe you ought to check this out. And it just kills you, essentially.
How nice of them.
I think it's supposed to, with the way those little things pop up, you're supposed to be able to find your way from point A to point B, but it's so hard, and with the scrolling and the monsters, it's as soon as those pop up, if I hit it on accident, I was like, no, I'm done. Toss the controller. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Can't jump over them. You got to go through it. And by the time you get to the other side, you're caught up with the auto scroller and it kills you. So,
right. So there's, and alluding to what Mike said, with you only basically get one life, since every character only has one life, and you need all 4 characters. This game has so many ways to kill you. It will kill you by all these monsters coming at you at random times who are also shooting fireballs, and then, or if you're just like Andy said, the screen catches up to you and it just kills you. So if you're just not moving fast enough.
Well, if you stand still, it'll push you. As soon as you get an obstruction in the way, where that jump feature comes in, is if you got a mountain in front of you, you can jump up on the mountain instead of shooting your way through it. But if you don't have that jump feature, it implodes you.
Right.
So that's what the jump is for.
That's the only thing I found it useful for.
There's sinkholes too. Did you guys experience any sinkholes? They just open up in the ground and you fall in. Somebody needs a blanket.
Yeah.
It's me.
Hey, I just, while we're on a little bit of a detour, I did notice, Justin, you have cats coming in your screen all the time, but Andy's got a really cute little dog.
Your little cute what? I didn't hear it.
A cute little dog.
Oh. I didn't see it. Oh, now I see it.
There.
This is Max. He's my buddy.
Max.
Little Max.
This is his tired face. So my wife works overnight, and so today she's working. He slept with me last night, and then she got home. I woke up with the kid. Then he goes up and sleeps with her all day, and then she comes down at 3. We eat dinner. She goes to work, and then he sleeps with me all night.
So he just sleeps all night.
He's the laziest dog, but he's a pretty darn good buddy.
That's awesome.
And then this guy here, this is Gomer.
Oh, hey Gomer.
Named after Gomer Pyle?
Yeah, that and he's just a Gomer.
Oh.
Alright. So
that's my world of pets.
That's cool. I like pets. We all like pets.
And you never told the story, Mike, by the way. Another tangent.
Uh-oh.
You said you had a story about a pet raccoon.
Oh, do we want to get into that tonight?
I think you should.
Okay.
We got time.
You were talking about how you wanted a pet raccoon?
Yeah, I think it'd be neat.
Okay. Well, you can imagine that my dad has friends who have pet raccoon.
Sure. Right.
He's the kind of guy that would have that kind of a friend. Well, one night, they brought the pet raccoon over, and let's see if I can describe this for Andy and the rest of the listeners. We have a room. My dad calls it the music room because that's where he always used to play music. And there's like a big fireplace with like it's brick. It's not a brick fire. It's a stone fireplace. It's got all these different stones and carvings and like this big hearth, and it's just basically imagine like the inside of a cave. It's the entire wall. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But so this guy brings this raccoon over, and it's cute at first, right? They're feeding it, and it's taking the food in its little hands and eating it with its hands. And we're like, oh, what a cute little raccoon. And then after about 15 minutes, I guess it just got bored or tired of being around everybody. And next thing I know, it's just like climbing on all over the stone wall. And it was like knocking things off the mantle, which the mantle is about 10 feet off the ground because this is a huge fireplace. And so
breaking.
Yeah, he's up there, he's just knocking things off. And then he started like climbing on people. Like he would go up to people and he was like climb on top of them and like scratch them and stuff. And I was just thinking, this is the worst pet I've ever seen.
Right.
Imagine a rabid dog that could also climb and grab things. It's bad.
What I would imagine is with the pet raccoon is, because like if something gets in your garbage, number one suspect, or at least in East Tennessee, usually raccoons, because they just get into everything. Or possum.
Ugh,
if you had a pet raccoon, and like, how would you keep it? It would just like be in your like kitchen drawers, cabinets, and stuff all the time. Like what? How do you keep it from doing like everything it wants to?
No, that thing was into everything. When it wasn't scratching people and knocking things off the hearth, it was like digging through stuff trying to find things.
It's all they do is scavenge.
Yeah, it was terrible. So I do not recommend Parrot.
Yeah.
And the whole time, it was a man and wife, and the whole time the wife was like trying to like calm him down. Like, oh, come here. I can't remember. It's like Stevie or something. It's like, come here, Stevie. Come on, calm down, Stevie. And she would like grab him, like start petting him, and he'd just like claw her eyes out and jump away. It was terrible.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
So, anyways, long story short,
Yeah.
They are not meant to be tamed.
And at least don't bring it over to your friend's house.
Yeah, exactly. You can get one, just know your role when it comes to being a
Yeah. Let it destroy your house.
Not your friend's house.
Right.
Okay, so let's get back to the game. So there's 4 characters, and they're totally different characters, except for they're not, because they all kind of play the same. Right?
Right.
So for
For the
me,
most part.
all the levels are different, and the characters are different, but they all kind of play the same. They do the same thing. They're all extremely different.
Yeah.
So other than the really neat level up aspect to this game, it's kind of a mediocre shoot 'em up. I would say it's in the mid tier of shoot 'em up games on the NES, maybe mid to lower tier, just because I don't know. It's not. There's a lot of good ones, so for me, it's kind of. But then you throw in that aspect that most people probably won't get to see or experience, and it turns out to be pretty neat.
This was very much a 1942 for me, as far as shoot 'em ups. Kind of the same thing where everything's just kind of coming at you, and you're just one thing on the screen, and as soon as you're dead, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Except 42 had extra lives and better power-ups, but
Except for 42 is better.
just better in every conceivable way.
Except I liked 1942. I mean, sorry.
So, all right. I'm trying to think of. Let's just go into the graphics. What do you think? What did you all think about the graphics?
I mean, nothing special.
Nothing special.
That's about it. That's all you can really say about it. I mean, it's a top-down shoot 'em up, so you're not going to get too awfully specific. I don't know. I guess looking at some of the sprites for the bosses, those were pretty well done. Like I think there were some aspects that were pretty good, but I think the background and stuff is just, for the most part, yeah.
With the exception of one stage, the wizard stage, that white and lime green glaring in your face. It was fine once you got into the cave, but then you came back out and you had to play the rest of the level with that. If you've never seen the game, it is a lime green, like a neon green, with white mountains, and you are a white sprite, and there's white sprites shooting white bullets at you, and it is the most painful thing for your eyes to watch for 10 minutes.
It is pretty.
That is true.
Other than that, the other levels are pretty good with the contrast and everything, but that level destroys your eyes.
Yeah. I would say that I think that the game has pretty good graphics, really, but I'm with you, Andy. I think some of the colors that they picked, they're just too bright. It's weird because there's, I know a lot of NES games have bright colors, but even the water for me in this game, and maybe my TV was just tuned wrong. I played on 2 different TVs. Both times, it's just it really did hurt my eyes to play. But I think the design of the the levels are all different looking, and the characters that you play in those levels are different, and the bosses are pretty cool. So I think the graphics themselves are pretty good, but for some reason, like the color schemes that they picked in the levels just really did. It almost gave me a headache.
Even Toby's. I mean, he had the desert. Toby is in a desert mostly. Well, not mostly, for half the stage, and then in the water the second half. But even his, like the sand, it's not like the Zelda. You know, Zelda's sand is kind of cool. This is like that bright brown that just kind of surges your TV. I mean, yeah, the color scheme was not the best, but yeah, the graphics were not bad for an '89 Nintendo game. I've definitely seen worse, but I mean, this graphics could have been better. Definitely not the cover art.
Yeah,
but
well,
then again, it's '89 Nintendo, '86 Nintendo actually.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, it is. So think about that, people. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on the screens too, and there's not a ton of flicker or slowdown or anything.
Right.
The game itself is kind of slow. Your characters until you start leveling them up. The bullets aren't slow, unfortunately, but there's just not a lot of flicker and stuff. So I don't know. I would give the graphics a passing grade, barely, thanks to the colors.
Barely passing.
Yeah.
C's get degrees.
That's right. What about the sound?
Not great. I wasn't a big fan of the music. Thought it was fairly bad.
Yeah. I was not a big fan of the music either. I don't know if I'd call it bad, but I couldn't really get it. I was kind of shocked to find out that you said that this is the guy that continued to do all the Final Fantasy music, and that's probably why I also thought he was just a guy with a mustache during the quiz game, because a lot of Final Fantasy music is pretty awesome. Even on the NES, it's pretty good. To find out that maybe this guy was just starting to get his feet wet with King's Knight, I don't know.
So this was his third game, and of course was before Final Fantasy, but only like a year before Final Fantasy. So this game was made in '86. Final Fantasy was like '87. So he just this was like maybe his B-sides to like all the music he was making, and they were like, "Hey, can you throw some music together real quick for this game?" It's like, "Well, I don't want to waste my good stuff, so I give you this stuff."
We like what you do. We just want it better for this next.
Yeah,
you got to remember though, Final Fantasy, and I'm getting a little defensive because the music is one of those things that when I hear it today, it still brings me back to 10 years old birthday playing this game. So I'm a little defensive, but Final Fantasy was Square's last ditch effort.
yeah.
They put nothing but the best that they had into that game because they were going under if that game didn't survive. When they made King's Knight, they didn't care. I mean, that's why they were in that position when they made Final Fantasy, because they didn't care. They put whatever music in. So he probably was sitting there at his little composer station and was like, yep, good enough. That's good enough for that stage. And nope, that's good enough for that. And then when Final Fantasy, he really had to pull out his A game and probably was paid to put out his A game for that game. So, I think the music's okay. It's not great. It's not one of those ones where it's repetitive over and over on a 10-second loop. It does have about 1.5 to 2 minutes before it starts repeating itself. Other than that, it's okay. I would say it's that passing grade, C's get degrees, but not anything that I would write home about.
Yeah, I don't want to say that it's bad. I've definitely heard worse in recent memory. Bill and Ted rings a bell.
Back to the Future.
Well, yeah, we haven't played with that one for the show yet, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it is kind of mediocre, but I can understand if I had played this a bunch as a kid, it would definitely be bringing back the feels, because there is music in this game. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just little 10-second clips that repeat over and over. I think you said that. I don't know. I'm just trying to bridge the gap between you and Justin.
I got the nostalgia going.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, too bad that Final Fantasy thing didn't really take off.
Yeah, I know.
It's too bad.
Some would argue that if they just cared a little bit more about King's, Final Fantasy wouldn't have had to been so important.
And we might be on King's Knight 16.
That's right.
Does
The
have an
instead of
RPG.
Final Fantasy.
We could have had an MMO King's Knight by now. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. I think it's time to decide how much it goes for. And, well, we don't decide that, but we can decide if it's worth it.
All right. So, price charting has this loose price. It's a good used price. $7.
Okay. That's not too bad, actually. I think I would say this game's worth it. It's not a very good game, and I don't know why I want to say it's worth it, but I feel like it would be worth it to me just to get good enough at it to try out that reset thing to see if it really works. And I may try to get good enough at it to get that, to take a shot at that. It may take me a long time.
Yeah.
I think it'd be worth a shot. And for $7 is not outrageous for an NES.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cheap.
So not for a spoiler alert, but I know somebody wrote in the comments that there's a pretty toasty one sitting in their local pawn shop. And I don't know how much he said it was for, but if it had a $7 price tag on it, and I've never played it, and I knew somebody was going to be talking about it, I'd grab it on the shelf for $7 and give her a whirl. Knowing what it is and knowing that I've played it and after the review, I would say if that's still sitting on the shelf tomorrow on the pawn shop, I would grab it just to check it out. But I would probably walk up to the counter and say, hey, I'll give you $5 for it.
Yeah, because you're a dude A&D with the guarantee.
Absolutely.
I would probably just leave it on the shelf. No, actually,
You would take it to the counter and throw in the guy's face like, how dare you sell this game here?
I would probably, as much as I've only had mostly negative things to say about the game, there's not a whole lot of games that I wouldn't pay $7 for. So I think I would go ahead and pay $7 for it. It's definitely worth $7.
A ringing endorsement from Justin.
Yeah,
There ain't a lot of games I wouldn't pay $7 for. This
Right.
is one of those I'd fork over the money reluctantly.
It's not replacing any of my games on my spend money on games.
Oh yeah, definitely not. That's true.
Yeah. So
What about you, Andy? Did you made a list, right? Would this replace any of the ones?
No, it would not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. There's
Okay.
too many other games on my list that would X this one out.
That's fair. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up with the game talk. Unless you guys have any last words.
no, that's pretty much it.
All right. Did you
The
guys?
only thing I got is did you guys notice on the cover that like Toby is completely wiped out from existence on the cart art?
Yeah.
Look, so I'm showing it on the screen, but if you're listening at home,
Yeah.
So the wizard is riding the dragon, and you can see his face, but Toby, they said no, Toby, we don't want to see you on the cart. We're going to take you off of there. I think on the box that's actually raised, and you can see him better, but on the cover he's the forgotten lost thief.
Well, he's just a thief.
Just the
That's
thief. Right. I thought that was interesting, but they made the girl you're rescuing that if you beat the game you get to see for a whole 4 seconds. They made her nice and prevalent in front, with Ray Jack.
Oh yeah. Have you beat it? And I don't think we asked you that.
Unassisted, no,
I
but
see.
with a game genie, of course. Had to find out how it ended. But unassisted, I want to say it was the monster. I got him through and then got to level 5 with just him and exploded immediately. So didn't
Yeah.
get too far.
It is nice that this game, as long as you can get through with one character, you'll at least get to play stage 5. So
You get to see it.
Yeah.
Again, it's a teaser.
yeah, you won't be able to do much, but you'll get to try it. Now, before we go to retrofitted trophies, we had thought we have a game to give away, right? We got at least the 150-1, and Andy is gracious enough to provide a King's Knight. So, the 151 came from a Razzle Dazzle win by me. I won it for the Razzle Dazzle, and I said we need to give it away on the show. And then Andy's just being nice for some reason and giving away King's Knight.
I had a whole box of them.
A whole box of King's Knight.
Yep. This is the last one now. Besides the one in my collection.
Now I'll do what we did with Steve Michael from Facebook. I don't know if you have anything you want to promote, Andy, but if you do,
I got nothing.
Okay, no, that doesn't work. All right, so here's what we'll do. Here's what we'll do then. For the 151, I will do so that everybody. But for the King's Knight, we'll do after listening to this episode. people need to call in the next show. And
Okay.
whoever calls in will get put in the contest for King's Night. Actually, we'll give it 2 shows because sometimes we record a little bit too soon. So 2 shows from this show. So King's Night, and then call in for either of the next 2. If you're one of the callers for either of the next 2, win Andy's gracious King's Night copy. So if you've listened to this show and you thought, wow, $7 is too steep for me, I need it for free, then you need to call in and you'll get a chance to win King's Night.
It does come with that guarantee.
That's right. So that number is 775-7-RETRO-1, and we'll mention it again later when Nick Steven calls and tells us what he thinks about this game.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear his opinion.
All right, retrofitted trophy. All right, do y'all have any?
I've got a couple.
I've got a couple as well. I'll go first. The first one I've got is called Robin Hood, and that is beat Toby's level, Thief. And Robin Hood and he's kind of like a knight.
Yeah. My first one is got full bars, and that is find the hidden stairway for the underground section. And that's because it looks like full bars on a cell phone.
On a cell phone, yeah. LTE.
Yep.
So my first one is not King's Quest, which is you put the game in, push start, and realize it is not King's Quest. It is indeed King's Night. Sorry, Grandma. Thanks anyways.
All right. My next one is Merlin. And to get Merlin, you have to beat the Notice Enough people. It's kind of a boring theme.
I'm going to go with just Tom Arnold would be impressed, and that is actually beating this game. That would be something Tom Arnold would be impressed about.
He would be impressed.
I think a lot of people would be impressed. Unassisted.
Yeah. No Game Genie.
I don't have any more. I didn't write any more down. That's
Okay.
the only one I could think of.
All right, I got another one. I bet you can't guess mine for the night. Beating the Knight's level.
Heath Ledger.
It is not. It's not. That would be good though. No, it's King Arthur. I like yours better. I should have went with the actors that played these people. Like Kevin Costner could have been the thief.
You could have done that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who played Merlin, but it could have done Gandalf, right? Who played Gandalf? What was his name?
Sir
Gandalf.
something. He was knighted.
Yeah. So, well, then he should have been the knight.
Ian McLaren.
Yeah, Ian McKellen. Yeah. That's okay. I'm redoing mine.
Ian
Okay, we got Kevin Costner trophy, Ian McWhatever trophy, Heath Ledger trophy, and then who's played a dragon? I don't know. I didn't come up with that one anyway.
Godzilla. There you go.
There we go. Godzilla.
Yep.
Okay, good trophies, guys. So before we, I did come up with an ancillary quiz, if we had time, and I think we do. So before we do how we're going to rate this game, I just want to because I didn't know Jess was going to bring a quiz, but I thought I'd bring a little quiz. This is a night movie quiz. This is a movie quiz about night.
All right. Are they occurring at night?
I was gonna say, is
Or are
that
they nights?
AM?
They could be either one. They could be KNIGHT or NIGHT.
All right, I'm game.
Okay. See, I think I want to ask this Jeopardy style, man. So you guys have to answer in the form of a question.
All right.
In this movie, hilarious nights, quest for a Grail.
Andy.
Andy,
What is Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
that's correct. With the coconuts. Okay. In this movie, a gerbil lover plays one of King Arthur's knights.
Oh god.
A gerbil lover?
Yeah, I know where you're going with this, but I don't know the name of the movie.
The gerbil lover's name is Richard Gere.
Right.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Do you want me to give you
First Night?
Yep.
What is First Night?
Correct. First Night. Good job. 1-1. Okay. In this movie, undead people try to take over the world.
Andy.
Yes, Andy.
What is Night of the Living Dead?
That's correct. Okay. 2-1. It's only 5 questions. In this movie, a very, very handsome knight jousts.
Andy. What is a Knight's Tale?
That's correct. Heath Ledger would be that very, very.
Oh, I thought you were going with Count Adamar. Oh.
This last question doesn't reference a a movie, I'm going to be really mad.
Are you looking for a certain movie?
A certain movie.
Oh boy, I may let you
The
down.
best movie about a night.
Ah, crap. I don't know. I bet it's not.
All right, go ahead.
Oh my! Now I feel rude. I'm not even going to ask the question because Andy won anyways.
I want to hear it.
Okay. In this movie, Val Kilmer helps a little knight on his quest.
I don't even know.
Val Kilmer with the Little Knight.
Black Knight.
No,
Oh no, it's Willow.
that's
It's
correct.
Willow.
That's correct. It's
What is
Willow.
Willow?
It is Willow.
I haven't seen Willow since I was a kid, man.
You peck.
It is Willow. So 3-2. Good game, guys.
Black Knight was the movie I was referring to.
What is
Martin
Black-
Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence. I was afraid I'd sound too racist if I did that one.
Oh, come on.
Always a little worried about that.
Okay.
All right. So, how do you guys want to rate this game?
A movie about a night? No.
No, I already ruined that. Let's go with hockey team. Since Andy's on the show, hockey hat.
All right. Shoot.
I can kick it off since I'm the hockey.
Yes, please.
All right. I am gonna go with the Vegas Golden Knights, simply because they're the team I love to hate right now, and it's same with this game. This game is one of the games that I love to hate. The Vegas Golden Knights. They're new. They are dominating the NHL right now, and I love to hate them because I don't want to see a team do better than these teams that have been around for 100 years. But they're the team that might possibly win it, and same with this game. I love to hate this game, but this game might take it all someday.
Yeah, I understand that feeling.
Well, I'm going to go with the Carolina Hurricanes
Okay.
because they have the longest postseason drought of any team in the NHL because they suck.
And this game sucks, right?
Well, you said it, not me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the Mighty Ducks. Not the movie team, but the actual Ducks.
The Anaheim Ducks?
The Anaheim Ducks.
Or
Because...
actual ducks, like
I know.
ducks that quack.
Yeah, I know. All right. So, the reason being is because the box art looks good. I thought this game was going to be great. Just like when I was a kid and I watched the Mighty Ducks movie, I thought that the Ducks should be my favorite team. I thought the Anaheim Ducks should be my favorite team. And then I watched them play and I was like, no, this is not the Mighty Ducks. This is not the team I wanted.
Where's the flying V?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Why are they
There
not
is
doing
no
the flying
flying
V? So that's kind of what this game did to me. I was expecting more out of it. I was shocked to find out it was not the game I thought.
So, being from Minnesota, the Ducks and the North Stars are two teams I can never cheer for because they're the two teams that were stolen from Minnesota. The North Stars became the Dallas Stars in 93. And then in 91, the Mighty Ducks was filmed here in Minnesota. It was a Minnesota hockey, Pee Wee hockey team. And then California, Anaheim, went and stole the Mighty Ducks and created a franchise out of it. So, yeah. Little
I find
Minnesota
it hard
hockey
to
history
root.
there.
I find it hard to root for any hockey team that's based in like a sunny location.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, it's.
Phoenix Coyotes.
I mean, it's fake. It feels fake to me. Yeah.
You guys watch the Minnesota hockey hair team?
Yep, every year.
Man, I love it. I just love it. It's so great.
Coming up in 2 weeks, I think. It's not next weekend, but the weekend after will be the Minnesota State High School Hockey League Championships.
Yeah. You ever seen it, Mike?
Mm-mm.
You've seen it. I think I've sent it to you. The guy that does the all hockey hair team?
It's hair, like hair.
Yeah, like hair. Hockey hair.
I don't
So
know.
these kids, so I don't know if other states do this or not, but our hockey is pretty big up here in Minnesota, and these kids grow out their hair for the state hockey tournament. So when these young kids go up and they introduce the whole teams, and so they skate up to the line and they're like, and coming up next is John Abrams. He's a senior defenseman, and they skate up and they go, "Hi, Mom," and wave at the camera, but then their hockey hair is all flowing.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Well, somebody takes all those clips of the kids with the best hockey hair and makes a dream team out of them
Oh,
and shows
nice.
off their They're amazing hockey here in Minnesota.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
I need
It's
to watch
quite
it.
awesome.
I have not seen that, but I do need to.
Yeah.
I've known people who have made that team.
Oh. Well, that's.
It goes back several years. Like, yeah.
I'll have
So
to check
you've
it
got
out.
plenty of videos to watch.
Okay. So did nobody ever just make one that just covers all the years?
Well, no, it's just one guy. And he was like, I guess, like a mystery for a while. And like ESPN did like a special where they revealed who he was. Because nobody really knew like who made this video, but it had like millions of views. So, yeah.
Cool. So, enough about hockey. Although,
Oh,
I can't get into hockey all that much. Although we got one of the best hockey teams, right? I
do.
guess I should be able to get it. I do like the Predators. But this is not a hockey podcast, nor is it a farm animal podcast, nor is it a movie podcast. This is a video game podcast, and we need to get some feedback. Justin?
I'm sorry, I think my video like screwed up there. Say it again. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said, can you get us some feedback?
Oh, yeah.
he was looking for
All right.
Minnesota hockey here.
Yeah, I was waiting on the
That's
hair. Yeah.
All right. So, Gabe Van Gilder starts us out and says, I greatly look forward to this. Chris Vanderhoff says, I still remember getting this game. This is one of the first, if not the first game I bought with my own money. I remember going to Shopko and getting this game for cheap, $20 I think. I had all the cheap games for the NES. I would save up and buy them $20 and under games. OMG, I went on a tangent on a podcast about tangents. Now, back to the game. It's a hard game, great game, and it pretty much sucks. But after repeat play, you do get better at it. Still not a good game, though. And can you believe Square made this? So, there you go.
I cannot.
Alright. Peter Martin says, looking forward to the show, dudes. You all make me feel like I didn't own any games, but I swear I had 30 plus games. Like many other shows. Never heard of this one. Haha.
I will
30
say
plus games back in the day. That was pretty awesome.
it would have. Yeah, that would have been pretty awesome. I can still remember when Neighbor Kid gave me his games, and it like doubled my collection, and I thought I was just king of the mountain. You know, I was on top of the world.
Andy Lewis says, is that dude Andy guarantee? And yes, it is. Thanks for your feedback, Andy. Alright. Anthony Pig says, looks up my alley. I love anime-inspired games and art. Well, you probably won't like this game then, Anthony. Cecil Dredge. The only thing I know about this title is that there has been a copy with a really bad label sitting at one of my local shops for a couple of years now. Perhaps it gets a good review on the show. I might pick it up. Go buy it.
Yeah, go
Get
on
it.
it. Especially if it's under.
Talk him down to
$10.
5. Yep.
Talk him down to 5. That's good. That's good. That's a good plan.
Alan Taylor says it's not a bad game. Takes some figuring out. Tyler Jones put up a GIF of the Monty Python horse riding. Gabe Van Gilder put up a GIF of something very confusing. It looks like an old man baby jumping up and down. It's kind of weird.
Thanks, Gabe.
Yeah. Christopher Hodges says it's a very unique shooter with some RPG elements, kind of. The music is better than 1942, and the attack animations are even better than Hildlides? All kidding aside, it is a pretty sweet game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the dudes have to say about this one. That's it for the
Okay.
Facebook
All
feedback.
right, I got some Twitter feedback.
Ooh.
Paul and Andy at Power Trip Gaming say, Andy and I played this one, and surprisingly, I liked it a lot. Great shooter, but hard as nails. So, Paul liked it, and they left a link to their video. They also have a video about it. Not family friendly, they add. Still love you guys. We should all go watch it. Just don't watch it cleanliness. That's what I
Right.
would say. Aaron Hickman. What? Aaron Hickman writes in, says, I remember renting this game as a kid and being super disappointed. It was nothing like Final Fantasy, even though it was Square. Turns out it's a pretty solid fantasy shooter, though. Very reminiscent of Nightmare on it. Ultra Lavo says, I used to own this game. I remember it being fun, but with a high difficulty level. I enjoyed how you had the different characters you used in each section and how they all met up in the final chapter. I need to pick this up again and do a Let's Play. And then Ruzanne, not Roseanne, Ruzanne, says, It was Galaga with RPG elements, great music, and pretty neat boss battles. I can't wait to hear you guys take on it. Hashtag 2 dudes in it. I didn't know we had a hashtag 2 dudes in it.
Throw a hashtag in there.
Might as well. Actually, when you click on the hashtag, there's a lot of people hashtagging us. How about that?
Well,
Shows what I know.
yeah, really, we're just a hashtag and we didn't even know it.
Some of them are pretty old. Some of the hashtags are pretty old. Oh well.
Okay.
It means we haven't been paying attention. Alright, so we got all the we covered all the feedback then?
No Google this time?
Oh, thank you,
No?
thank you. See? That's why you're here,
Where'd it
Andy.
go?
Guaranteed to get Ryan Ballard's comments on the show.
Right.
I can't leave him out.
I'm gonna have to
He's
look
the
it up
only one
for you.
over there. I gotta call him out a little bit.
Somebody stall though, because I didn't have it pulled up.
Oh. I'm
Sing a song.
about to sneeze.
That's not a
Achoo.
very good song.
That reminds me of
Jew
the
here?
pepper people.
You really
You
did
guys watch
sneeze.
Friends, right? The pepper people.
Now let me just say,
I did watch it, but
that Ryan, you must know that we love you, because getting Google Plus pulled up on anything and getting to the comment on the post that I post is such a bear. You see how long it just took us there. That was all me clicking through all the links it takes to get to this one post. It's very unlike Facebook and all that. Probably why nobody uses Google. But alas, Ryan does. And he always has good comments. So, having already played Dino Ricky as a kid, I couldn't help but see the parallels. The game seems to be nice quality choice, but when I was left with a distinct feeling of, if you played one vertical shooter, you've played them all. It's a good point. And I don't know how I would place this one up against Dino Ricky. We may, you know what we may have to do? I think Joe Copel is the one that recommended we play Dino Ricky. So we may just have to get Andy and Joe in a ring, and that's how we'll decide which is better.
they could be like the undercard for when we fight Tom Arnold.
Yeah,
There
that's
you go.
right. There we go. Hey, speaking of wrestling and fighting and stuff, did you know? And you probably knew this, Justin, but the listening audience out there does not know this. But the guy running for county mayor in Knox County, which is right next door to us, is Glenn Jacobs, otherwise known as Kane.
Yeah,
He's running to be our county mayor.
that's right.
Sorry,
and he had an
still-
event. He's either having an event or maybe it was just had an event where it was like to raise money for his political campaign, and his brother, the Undertaker, was there.
Oh,
And that was
really?
part of the, like, you could pay more money to meet the Undertaker.
Uh-huh.
Still doesn't beat Minnesota, guys. We had Jesse Ventura, the body, as our
Oh,
governor
God.
for. I
How'd
don't
that
know,
work
what-
out for
Was
you?
it 4 great years? Four
How'd that work
years?
out for you? Huh?
Well, you know, I'm not political, but I lived through it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I'm not political at all, but I remember when he was running, it was one of those things where it was like, well, choice A sucks, choice B sucks. Let's give this third guy an option. And
This guy's
He
a
actually-
wrestler.
Choice 3's a
As an-
wrestler, so...
as an independent, he got the bid for governor, and it was kind of crazy. But yeah, shows you political people. A third option isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I
Well,
wouldn't use
libertarian.
Jesse. I wouldn't use Jesse Ventura as that example.
Speaking of...
Oh no, God, no.
To take us away from politics, and speaking of third candidates maybe not being so bad, but probably are, let's see what Nick Stevens had to say about this game. He called.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, Nick called. Let's see. Here he goes.
But this is probably going to be like one of the most infamous sound bites you ever have from Nick Stevens, but this is probably one of my favorite games of all time. Like, probably.
Yeah.
Easy.
Hold on, I gotta make sure.
So,
Wow.
Can
Now,
you hear that one
30
again?
when I recorded this, he didn't actually leave a voicemail this time. That's why you heard me at the end of the call, because I actually I talked to him on the phone and just
Right.
recorded the call.
Right, as you do with most conversations with
Yeah.
Nick Stevens.
Yeah, well, you have to with Nick, you know.
Right.
So there you go. Once again, for like the 4th week in a row, Nick's top 10 games of all time. He's going to run out of top 10 games.
He really is.
Oh well. All right, we do have one other voicemail, and then that should wrap us up on feedback. I don't have any email. So this voicemail, I think, is from last guest host, dude.
Hey dudes, what's up? JVNES from YouTube here.
also known as John's Wrestling. And I saw that you guys were playing King's Knight, and I know that game is like a shooter or whatever, and I played it a little bit, but like I've never really dived deep into it. But for the most part, from what I gathered, it's all right. It's a pretty decent game, you know. So the cover kind of, you know, throws you off. You think it's gonna be like sort of a RPG or something. No, you know, it's just a shooter, and a pretty obtuse shooter at that, because you got to know how to get all your characters, and that's how you beat the final level. It's really an odd kind of game, but you know, pretty unique for the time. I mean, it's probably pretty decent. I don't know. You know, looking forward to hear what you guys have to say about it. JZ out.
Thank you, dude. JZ, always a good
Yep.
call.
Always good feedback from him.
Yep, and he was on the last show, which Andy's not heard.
It's a good show.
It's a good show. We need
Can't
to. You know what we need to do? Nah, I'd be afraid people's fit. But I was thinking we should like put a who's been the best guest so far, kind of out there.
People's feelings would get hurt because I'd be right at the bottom. That's what you're saying. I get it. I I understand.
No.
No.
We'd
I'll
ask
donate more money. I'll try harder next time.
Here-
I get it.
Here's what would happen. Okay, we would have a contest. Who has been the best guest host, and then we would get Nick Stevens as a judge, and he would say everybody's in his top 10, and then we'd never be able to find a winner.
Right.
All right, that's all. That's it. How can they find us, Justin? And Andy, you got nothing to shout out, really? You got nothing?
I got nothing to shout out. Just the Two Dudes Traders. Go there and buy video games.
Yeah.
But that's more for you guys. But I'll be posting a bunch here. I've decided to go more demo and to downsize my carts. So if you're listening and you need stuff, Vanderhoff, I know I'll get you a list. I promise. But yeah, I'm going to be downsizing. So keep an eye on the Facebook Traders group. I'll be posting some stuff on there.
Sweet. So you can find us on Twitter, and let's get that hashtag moving again. I'm looking at the hashtags, and most of them are like from years ago.
We've had a couple of different
anyway.
hashtags. Do you remember some of them?
Yeah.
We had Deep Hatter for Life, which was my favorite, and then we had Two Dudes and a Mess. Of course, we've got Tom Arnold will be impressed. Sweet Feed.
Oh yeah, sweet fade.
Can't forget about Sweet Feed. We really could double as a 4-H podcast. Could
What?
I was just thinking we
If you're going to be a 4-H podcast, I'll definitely come back.
Okay.
13 years. Woo, woo.
I was just thinking we Sweet Feed comes from Horse Talk that we had a long time ago, and then or Co-op Talk or something, and then we also talked about. Here we are talking about farm animals all the time, and I was just thinking if we ever run out of NES games, we can just start talking.
Right. Livestock. The livestock report.
Yeah. This week's livestock report brought to you by Co-op.
Right.
All right.
So anyway, find us on Twitter, Facebook, all the social media stuff, and you can always call us and leave us a voicemail at
775-7-RETRO-1, or that's on our website up in the corner. You just tap the little phone icon. Very easy. And don't forget,
Bada bing, bada boom.
if you call us, you'll get a chance to win King's Night. You got 2 episodes. So not the episode immediately following King's Night, although you can call in that episode and be entered. Just from now until 2 episodes, you could win that shiny, which looks like it's in pristine shape.
It does look in good shape.
Pretty good. It's of course I kept the nicer one for my collection, but this is definitely one that would get top dollar at any pawn shop.
So there you go. It's a very good card. And be on the lookout, everyone, for the... I'll figure out some kind of contest on Facebook or something for that Super Games 150 and 1. That'll be another one. So...
Sweet.
And shout out to the Retro Junkies. Oh, well, I was supposed to mention a Retro Junkie. I think this week I'm going to mention the SNES podcast because they're approaching their 100th episode. Shout out to them. Retro Junkies have a Super Nintendo podcast. Greg does a good job with George. They're about to be at 100. Pretty big deal. So shout out to them and the rest of the Retro Junkies. And shout out to the Wii Dude, aka the Wii Guy on YouTube. All these awesome stereoized Shout out to the Fox Dude for our awesome logo. Shout out to Andy for being on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, dude, Andy.
Thanks for having me, and I'm proud to say that I think this is the first episode that we didn't rip on the germs at all. So,
Well, I mean, it's hard to rip on the germs these days because Nick, he's calling weekly and, really participating in our show. And really, he's not bashing us. He's actually talking about how awesome the NES games are.
I thought you were just
Right.
being nice because I'm up here in Minnesota, and they're my neighbors to the north, and I thought that's why we were being nice.
Oh,
Neighborly love.
the
No.
germs are your neighbors?
Aren't they up in Canada? Or am I
They're-
totally
no.
wrong on that?
No, they're not Canadians.
Are you kidding? I always thought the germs.
Nick's
were
in West
Canadian.
Virginia, and Aaron's in like Texas.
Yeah.
So,
It's like West
The
Virginia
more,
and Texas.
the more you know.
Yeah. We get there's don't worry though. There are plenty of Canadian podcasters that can be your neighbor. There may even be a Mr. Rogers podcast, and that will definitely be.
yeah.
All right. Sorry. I'm just rambling now.
All right.
Okay. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
They pooped in our mess kits because we had a good system going with them.